On a hot August evening in 1997, Garth Brooks, the famous country singer, was scheduled to perform a free concert in New York City's Central Park. Prior to performing, while waiting in his hotel room, Brooks was racked with fear. What was he afraid of? That no one would show up. He thought to himself he wasn't talented enough, he wasn't good enough. He didn't deserve to play for any audience, let alone a large audience in New York City. These thoughts of inadequacy were common for Brooks. According to New York authorities, about 1 million people packed Central Park to hear Brooks perform. Why, despite selling millions of records and performing in thousands of venues, was Garth Brooks racked with fear? Because he experienced what's called imposter syndrome. And here's a secret: every one of us experiences imposter syndrome. As a holistic practitioner, whether you're working on your own issues or you're seeing clients professionally, it's vital to understand what imposter syndrome is, how it can sabotage your success, and how you can neutralize its effects to achieve the best results possible. Hello and welcome to this episode of EFT Tapping Junction. Who is this show for? If you use emotional freedom techniques, thought field therapy, or any other meridian tapping method for self-care, or you're helping clients as a therapist or a coach, this show is for you. I'm your host, Stephen Carter, founder of Stress Solutions, LLC, which is now Stress Solutions USA. For more than 4 decades, I have helped thousands of people move from stress to success using a variety of holistic methods. I hold multiple certifications as a practitioner and trainer in a variety of methods, to include, of course, EFT, thought field therapy, NLP, hypnosis, meditation, and many other techniques. Despite years of experience, training thousands of clients and hundreds of presentations to audiences around the world, imposter syndrome still shows up for me from time to time. In this episode, you and I will explore imposter syndrome, what it is, why it shows up, how it can keep you from maximizing success, and how to neutralize its effects so you can achieve success when working on personal issues or when helping clients. You're also going to learn an EFT tapping protocol you can apply anytime you feel imposter syndrome trying to take hold. Let's begin by looking at exactly what imposter syndrome is. Imposter syndrome is a psychological phenomenon characterized by persistent feelings of inadequacy, self-doubt, and a sense of fraudulence despite evidence of success or accomplishments. People experiencing imposter syndrome often fear that they will be exposed as a fraud or an imposter. This despite external recognition or evidence of their competency. They may attribute their success to external factors rather than their own abilities or their own hard work. Imposter syndrome can affect people in every area of life, including work, sports, relationships, education, even our sense of self-worth. It's been my experience everyone experiences imposter syndrome to a greater or lesser degree, regardless of education, experience, contradictory evidence, or reassurance from other people. It may not show up every day, but it is common to show up at times when you least expect it. David Hooper, who is a well-known radio host for the largest station in Nashville, he's a former touring musician, he's a well-known podcast coach. Several months ago, he was on stage speaking to an audience of several hundred people when he experienced a panic attack. Despite having given hundreds of talks, done thousands of hours on air, and performed in touring bands for years, a brief imposter syndrome thought led to a full-blown panic attack, leaving him frozen on stage. He did fight through the fear, but it left him shaken and concerned about his future. Fortunately, he was able to identify what happened, why it happened, and what he'll do in the future if a similar situation arises. Earlier, I mentioned the story about Garth Brooks and his battle with imposter syndrome. Here are some other famous people who have also experienced persistent imposter syndrome. We'll begin with Maya Angelou. This great late poet and author commented about her imposter syndrome, quote, "I have written 11 books, but each time I think, they're going to find out now. I've run a game on everybody, and they're going to find me out," close quote. Tom Hanks, the Academy Award-winning actor, Tom has talked about feeling like an imposter. He said, "No matter what we've done, there comes a point where we think, how did I get here? When are they going to discover that I am, in fact, a fraud and take everything away from me?" The actress and activist Emma Watson has spoken about feeling like an imposter, especially when she started studying at Oxford University. She said, quote, "It's called the imposter syndrome. It's almost like the better I do, the more my feelings of inadequacy actually increases," close quote. Tennis champion Serena Williams, she has also talked about feeling like an imposter, saying, quote, "I still have those moments where I'm like, am I good enough? Can I do this?" Close quote. Why does imposter syndrome show up? As strange as it may seem, your subconscious may use your internal critic to feed your conscious mind statements that call your competency into question. Why? To protect you. Protect you from what? Protect you from failure, criticism, and rejection. One of the most important needs many of us have is the need for approval. We want to fit in. We want to be liked. We want approval. This desire for approval also relates to the need to feel safe. One belief many of us have that operates below the conscious line of awareness is, if you do not try, you can't fail. Failure is bad. Failure will lead to you being judged. Failure will lead to you being ridiculed. Failure will lead to you being rejected. No matter how much you know, how skilled you are, or how much you've prepared, there can be a part of you whispering in your mind's ear, "You're not ready. You don't know enough. You're not good enough." When working on your own issues with EFT or any other technique, your internal critic may whisper things like, "You're not doing this right. You're only fooling yourself into believing this tapping stuff can really work. Stop this nonsense and get used to these feelings and thoughts. You deserve to suffer. Accept it. If you're seeing clients, your internal critic may whisper, "Who do you think you are? You don't know enough. You're not ready. You're not ready. You're going to make this person worse. Stop this work. Stop this work now before you fail and the client becomes angry with you." Having taught EFT and other methods to hundreds of people, I can guarantee every EFT practitioner has experienced some form of imposter syndrome. So what can you do to quiet that internal critic and keep focused on helping yourself and helping others? First, accept the fact that imposter syndrome may show up before, during, or after a tapping session. Rather than get sucked into the emotional quicksand, take a physical step forward. Take a physical step forward. If you're seated, get up and move. Take a physical step forward and tell yourself, "These thoughts are coming from my subconscious mind because it wants to protect me. These thoughts are coming from my subconscious mind because it wants to protect me." Be an observer and simply notice your thinking. Be an observer and simply notice your thinking. Say to yourself something like, "Yes, that's a thought. Yes, that is a thought. Thank you for attempting to protect me, but I'm going to proceed and see what happens." Bring to mind accomplishments you're proud of. These accomplishments may or may not relate to the task at hand. Bring accomplishments you're proud of, bring them into your conscious awareness. Pick 2 or 3 of these accomplishments. Pick 2 or 3 of these accomplishments and recall them in a big, bold, and bright way in your memory. Bring them to mind, recall them in a big, bold, and bright way in memory. Next, give voice to 3 skills you've developed. Give voice, speak them, describe them out loud. Give voice to 3 skills you've developed. If possible, say out loud or in mind something like, "I am treating this tapping session as an experiment. I am treating this tapping session as an experiment. I will affirm, tap, and adjust as needed, and I'm simply going to see what results arise." Next, I suggest tapping on any issues related to imposter syndrome. Do as many tapping sessions as you need to dissolve the fear using setup statements such as, "Even though a part of me may be resisting tapping for the chosen issue, I choose to proceed with this tapping session as an experiment to see what results arise. Even though a part of me may be resisting tapping for this chosen issue, I choose to proceed with this tapping session as an experiment to see what results arise." Your reminder phrase could be something like, "This experiment." You can also choose to tap on the physical sensations associated with those "I'm not good enough" thoughts. Be specific on the location in your body and the type of sensations you're noticing. Be specific on the location in your body and the type of sensations you're noticing. After tapping for the negatives, it's time to tap the positives. Tap a positive setup statement such as, I choose to treat every session as an experiment and make any adjustments needed based on each tapping round results. I choose to treat every session as an experiment and make any adjustments needed based on each tapping round results. Another great option can be, I choose to feel calm and confident. I choose to feel calm and confident, knowing there is no failure, only feedback. I choose to be calm and confident, knowing there is no failure, only feedback. I choose to be calm and confident every time I tap for myself or with a client. I choose to be calm and confident every time I tap for myself or with a client. Your reminder phrase can simply be calm and confident. Calm and confident. I would love to hear your personal experience with imposter syndrome and how you overcame this all too common experience. You can email me to share your experience in writing, or you can record your story using the audio recorder on your cell phone or your computer. Attach that file to an email and send it to me at cartermethod@gmail.com. cartermethod@gmail.com. If you give me your permission, I may use your email or audio recording on the show. By sharing your experiences, you're going to be helping other people. Speaking of our show, if you're not yet following EFT Tapping Junction in your favorite listening application, this is a perfect time to do that. Remember, when you follow the show, you will never miss an episode. For more podcast goodness, visit us at stressreliefradio.com, stressreliefradio.com. If you would like to comment on this or any other episode, or you would like to reach me for any reason, email me at cartermethod@gmail.com. Until our next visit together, your host here, Stephen Carter, encouraging you to create a joyful life, one tap at a time.